Okay guys, so you all see that it's working, and right now I'm going to guide you through the procedure of installing those ambient illumination LEDs in your cup holder in Golf MK7. I will show you which parts and tools you will need and how to perform the coding. Actually right now I have the coding reverted to defaults. So it's not working right now, and I will guide you through it. We'll do it together using OBDeleven Pro on my phone over here, but you can do it with VCDS as well. The procedure is pretty much the same, only the application interface that you are using is a little bit different, but all the addresses, all the modules should be the same. So first of all, you will need something like this. It's very thin, less than 3 millimeters, and it's very bright. It's powered by 12 volts, so you will have to provide 12 volts and ground connection to it in order to make it work. Also, you will need a little guy like this. This is a terminal that you will have to connect to the BCM. BCM is a body control module. In my vehicle, since this is a left-hand drive vehicle, this module is located somewhere over here, above the dead pedal over here, so you will have to disassemble a couple trim elements from this vehicle to access it. And the good news is that you don't need to drop the module, you can just disconnect one of the plugs. And I'm not sure if vehicles that are right-hand drive will have the module on the driver's side, or will the module be still on the left side. Also, you will need things like isolation tape, wires, zip ties, Torx and flat drives, prying tools, terminal crimping tools, cutters, knives, of course diagnostic interface. And since this retrofit in my vehicle is, well, almost ready, all I need right now is coding, I will strongly suggest to check 3 of my previous videos. First one is the cabin fuse box location, it's over here, how to remove it. Second one is the rear USB ports retrofit. Let me just show you what I have over here. Can you see it? I'm not sure if you can. Well, I retrofitted rear USB ports, and in order to do this I had to remove a little bit of the center console over here. So the front cubby, this piece of trim, those side covers, this piece of trim, those buttons, and so on. So this has to be removed in order to install those LEDs over here. And the video that I'm talking about the rear USB ports is the way to do it. Yeah, so we can check the video and you will know exactly how to remove all those parts to access the cup holder. And the third video is the footwell lights retrofit video. I retrofitted footwell lights over here, and you should check this video just to check how to add additional wiring circuit to the BCM. This is what I talked about just before. We will have to add a single wire to the BCM in order to have a separate wiring circuit, separate circuit that will control this light, and I have light over here as well. Those are connected together. I could just connect to the dashboard illumination or to the footwell lights, but then I would not be able to control those lights separately. Yeah, if this is too bright, I would have to dim the whole footwell or the whole dashboard. But this way, with separate circuit connected to the BCM, we can control only this with separate slider. Assuming that you have added those LEDs over here and you want to wire them right now, well, you need to wire 2 things. Ground connection, which can go, for example, to the cigarette lighter, which is close, but still you will have to wire the positive wire to the BCM. So you could use the ground connection behind the glove box as well. That's up to you. And when it comes to the BCM wiring, well, there are 3 big connectors over there, and you need to find a pin that is empty, but also it's programmable. Yeah, so to do this, This depends strongly on the optional equipment in your vehicle. So some vehicles might have different pins empty and different pins used. To check without disassembling the vehicle, you can use OBDeleven. Let's go to the list of all modules. Let's scroll to module 09, which is the BCM. So right now we are actually connected with the BCM. And let's go to adaptation. And over here there's a lot of configuration, yeah, and most of it is related to lights, because BCM controls maybe 90% of the lights that are in this vehicle. So let's scroll down and you will see that there's a series of channels called Leuchte. This is from German word meaning light. We have Lichte 0, Lichte 1, Lichte 2, Lichte 3, and so on. And it goes up to 34, I believe. Okay, so the first one is front blinker, front left indicator, front right indicator, and so on. We can go into this channel and check sub-channels, and we can see that there's a last type. This is a load type. Load type set to something. And we are looking for channel that has nothing over here. There's something over here, there's something over here, and you will see different things like LEDs and standard bulbs and so on. Over here we have xenon light. Over here we have LED with low load. This one is not active, so it could be used, for example, in this vehicle, but I've used the Lichte 1.6, which was also set to not active. This is good for me, but I know that some vehicles with rear LED lights might have this already used. So you have to look for something that's not active yet. And well, since we know that we want to use the Lichte 16, well, how do we know which pin is controlled by this adaptation channel? Actually, you should check the end of the channel name. Yeah, we have a lot of different things over here, and it looks like some gibberish over here. But let's go over here to our shorter names. We have Lichte 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. And we have some kind of function. This is probably fog light. Left and right we have L and R, and there's a B45 and B5. This means that this is plug B pin 45 and this is plug B pin 5. And our channel, the Lichte 16, is ending with C9. So this channel controls pin 9 in the connector C, and this is exactly the pin that I've connected to. Now let's check if I did a good job. So let's change the load type to small LED, 46 Kleinleistung, yeah, LED Kleinleistung. This is LED with low load, so let's write it. Security access code is 31347. Okay, so now the BCM knows that there are some LEDs connected over here, but well, they are still off. So let's assign a function to this circuit. Right now the lichtfunktion A, so the most important, the light function A, is set to not active, so let's set it to 100% active. So use this, power this circuit all the time. Okay, still nothing. This is because we have to adjust the dimmwert. Dimmwert is the dimming of the circuit. Right now it's set to 0, and let's set it to 100%. Yeah, so we will have full brightness. And instantly we can see that this circuit is lighting up. So this confirms that the wiring is okay. So right now maybe let's set it to 25% just to see how the brightness will look like. It's much better. Those LEDs are way too bright to use as ambient lights when they are set to 100%, because if you are driving by night they will just annoy you. Yeah, I'm not even talking about the risk of driving with something that bright near the driver, but okay, we now know that the circuit is connected properly. So Right now let's set it to a different function. We don't want it to be set to 100% active, because right now we don't have any control over the circuit from the vehicle. Yeah, we cannot control it. So maybe let's check, just for fun, let's set it, the function, to left indicator, blinken links. Right now we can see that it's not on because the indicator is not on, but when I use the left indicator, you can see that it's blinking. So that's cool. But enough. So the load type is correct. Function A, let's change it to ambient light number 2, ambient Licht 2. Okay. Now dimmwert, so dimming back to 100%, I will explain later. And also check if the Lichtfunktion HD is set to always. This is related to the trunk. So if this light should be on always, or maybe if it should be on only if the trunk is closed. So let's set it to always. We don't want to connect the logic of this light with the trunk. Yeah. So lasttyp is LED Kleinleistung, Lichtfunktion is ambient Licht 2, dimmwert is 100, and Lichtfunktion HD is set to always. So right now this wiring circuit is ready, I believe. And right now let's check if the infotainment system is ready for the controls. So if you have other lights in your car, like the door trims, which you can control from the infotainment screen, or the footwell lights, well, you don't have to do this. This is what most likely already enabled, but just for fun, let's check it. So we are looking for module 5F over here on the list of all modules. 5F. Once again, we are going to adaptation and car function generation car function list BAP generation 2, interior lights, active interior lights message bus, comfort data bus. So that's okay. And now over here in adaptations, we are looking for ambient illumination active and ambient illumination over threshold high active. So that's okay. So now we are going to actually enable the slider. So we are going back to list of all modules, go to module 09, so we are back in the BCM, go to long coding, and in long coding switch to the bit byte view and check if it's all zeros over here. If it's all zeros, well, you can skip this step, but I have the older BCM module which is still using long coding, so I have to check something over here. Byte 17, bit 2, this needs to be enabled. And go back, go to adaptation, and over here we are looking for interior light configuration, and I'm looking for cockpit Beleuchtung installed, slide to right, access code is 31347, and adaptation was accepted. We can check if it worked. So over here on this screen, in car screen, go to settings, go to lights, scroll down, and you should have front background lighting, yeah, and you should be able to adjust it. When it's set to 0, it should be off, and if you adjust it, it should get brighter. Also, if you are working in daytime, make sure that your headlights are on, not in auto, not in off, but on. Because in auto, if there's too bright outside, you will not have ambient illumination. Well, that's the way it works over here. There are two things that we still need to check. Let's go to list of our adaptation channel, and now let's go to interior lights second generation. We want to check if this first thing, this dimmed side, is set to 0.1 second, and we want to check if the, where is it, cockpit, this Helligkeit Cockpitberechnung nicht berechnen is set to not active. This should be not active, this should be set to 0.1. Okay, so let's go back, and now we will adjust the brightness, because right now I think it's a little bit too bright. Well, we will see. So we are looking for channel called interior lighting parameter, and over here let's input cockpit just to filter out all those other settings, and we have PT, this is parameter time, all those should be set to 0. Next is P, adaptation Kundenwunsch cockpit, this is maximum brightness from the infotainment display. So right now it's set to 64, this is hexadecimal, and when you convert it to decimal, this is 100%. We want it to be much lower. We don't want the 100% setting over here to be so bright. So let's set it to 14. Slide, and we can already see that even though it's set to 100% over here, it's not as bright. And right now, when I adjust this setting, we can see that it's getting dimmer and brighter. And if I turn it off, it's off. Okay, so that's okay. And next thing are those P Helligkeit parameters, and those are set to 100%, with one exception. This one is set to 126. We don't touch the 126, but all those others with 100% we want to set to 25. So you will have to click a couple times over here, set all of those to 25. Those are brightness settings for different scenarios. So for example, if the doors are opened, if the doors are unlocked, if the key is in the ignition, if the key is removed from the ignition, if the vehicle is closed but the ignition is on, and if the ignition is off, if the doors are closed but the trunk is open, and so on. There's a lot of settings over here. It's best to set those, for starters, to same value, 25, 25, 25, 25, and later on you can experiment and adjust those values to get different results. So we have those set to 25, we have the maximum brightness from the infotainment screen set to 14 hex, and those time parameters are set to 0. Those are time delays, so we can set how much time this brightness change should be delayed. For example, if you are removing key from the ignition, you will notice that this will get brighter. If it's set to 0 seconds, there's no delay, so it will get brighter immediately. But you can adjust those delays for different circuits in the vehicle, for example, to get a kind of dynamic scene illumination. Yeah, so when you remove the key, you will see footwells to illuminate first. You can set higher delay for the cup holders. You can set another even higher delay for the door lights, and even higher delay for the roof lights. So next time you remove the key, you will have this sequence of lights that are turning on. Yeah, here, then here, then here, and then here. But let's start with all zeros. If everything is okay over here, I believe it is. Well, let me check my notes, and I believe we are good to go. We can also do one thing. Still in module 09, go to live data, and over here we are looking for ambient lighting and we can over here confirm that the plug C pin 9 is used for the ambient illumination. Duty cycle, this is brightness, is set to 9%. And right now, if you adjust this, you should see, maybe let's do it like this. If I adjust the slider over here, you should see that this value goes down from 9 down to 0. And when I turn it back on, this is how it works. This is cool for debugging this function. Okay, so in the description below this video you will have this full list of coding changes, some of the tips, links to this LED, to this terminal, and to other stuff that I've used over here. So that's pretty much it. Hope you liked this tutorial. I hope that it was not too long and it was clear enough for you to figure it out. If you have any questions, post them in the description, in the comments below this video. And that's pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching and see you soon.